We've all heard of DNA. You know, the blueprint of life, the stuff that can control whether your eyes are blue or brown. If you examine someone's DNA, then you can know everything about that person's appearance. Right? Wrong. Scientists used to believe that all of a person's traits are controlled entirely by their DNA. Yet there have been cases where only one sibling out of a pair of identical twins gets a genetic disease, even though they both inherited the same DNA. This is because of epigenetics, how your traits can be affected by factors other than changes in the genetic code.
Epigenetics makes the study of genetics a lot more complicated and a whole lot more exciting.
Each of the genes in your DNA are like light bulbs. They can be turned on or off. A cell does not activate all of its genetic code at once. It only uses the parts it needs. This can happen because of the structure of the DNA itself. The DNA in only one cell of your body is almost 2 meters long. To make all that DNA tiny enough to fit inside your cells, it is packaged around proteins called histones. What your body's exposed to, whether it's tobacco smoke or pesticides, can influence what chemical tags are added onto the histones. These tags can cause the DNA to tighten or loosen around the histones, influencing which genes are accessible to be activated. These chemical tags can also silence a gene by attaching to the DNA and preventing sections of the genetic code from being replicated to create proteins. Multicellular life begins with identical cells called embryonic stem cells. But at some point, those cells specialize, like becoming a heart cell or a brain cell, and are unable to revert back. Yet both the heart cell and the brain cell contain the same DNA. What makes them different is the way their genes are expressed. A geneticist named Conrad Waddington created a clever way of thinking of this: Waddington's epigenetic landscape. An embryonic stem cell is like this ball rolling down this landscape. Near the top of the hill, the ball is pluripotent, which means it could go in many different directions. Once it has rolled all the way down, however, it's stuck where it ended up. Or so we thought. Recent studies have found that certain proteins can be inserted into adult cells to put them back near the top of Waddington's epigenetic landscape. These cells are called induced pluripotent stem cells, or iPS cells. As we learn more about epigenetics, we discover more possibilities. As of now, when someone needs a bone marrow transplant, there needs to be a donor with similar bone marrow cells, so the patient's body won't reject it.
Researchers are currently working on creating iPS cells from the patient's own cells and artificially rolling them down the epigenetic landscape to transform them into the specialized cells the patient needs. Learning about epigenetics has let scientists make real progress towards curing many genetic diseases. We still have much to learn, but epigenetics is already helping us understand why we are the way we are. Who knows what the future will look like with our growing knowledge of the mysterious world of epigenetics?